What's going on, guys? Rana here out of Houston, Texas. Welcome to yet another episode of the Real Estate Anarchy podcast, where we are bringing you some of the biggest heavy hitters, not only in the entrepreneurship world, but the real estate investing world. In this episode today, I have a very, very special guest, very good friend of mine, and the Mr. Propstream himself. There's been a lot of rumors going around about Propstream. There's a lot of YouTube videos. There's a lot of Instagram stories. There's a lot of TikTok posts going around the rumors of what's happening right now to the MLS data industry. Now, the kings of data, which is Propstream, announced that now you're not going to be able to run comps on non-disclosure states. What does that mean? I have the man in the background right now. He's backstage. Guys, without further ado, welcome to the Real Estate Anarchy podcast. All right. Burton, my man, welcome to the Real Estate Anarchy podcast, brother. Can you hear us? Can you see us?
Oh, I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear, awesome, brother. So let's get on with the show right now. As I was saying in the introduction, Bert, right, there's a lot of speculation out there of, hey, Propstream can't pull the right data anymore, or Propstream can't run any comps. The reason why I wanted to, bring you on is let's hear from the source. Let's hear what's going on, because there's a lot of quote unquote gurus. There's a lot of quote unquote mentors, and there's a lot of quote unquote influencers spreading false rumors about what is going on right now with Propstream. So I sat down with my team, Bert, and I said, how do we do this? Do I go on and tell my followers of misinformation, or do I bring on the main man, Burton Alicondo of Propstream, to set the record straight, right? And we said, let's bring Burton on. Let's see exactly what's going on with Propstream. So I want to welcome you to the Real Estate Anarchy podcast. Once again, you've been on here a couple of times, but today is very, very special because now you're the first podcast of 2022. Not only that, you're here on behalf of Propstream to quote unquote set the record straight and answer the questions that have been lingering around. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, yeah, no, it's funny that you said that because earlier this week there was a little commotion that occurred, and our support staff started telling us about customers calling in. It looks like there was some misinformation that was out there, and again, there was some changes in our platform, but I think people just kind of took it, maybe read it incorrectly, or perhaps there was an agenda or something. I don't know what it was, but I'm very honored to be here again. To set that record straight. I want to just make sure people understand what these changes are and how it could affect them if it does or it doesn't. So thank you again for giving me the platform and giving me the time.
Absolutely. One Facebook viewer said, straight from the horse's mouth, 100%. Now, I don't know if that's cool to call my boy a horse or not, but
right.
It's all good. Hey, we're here to make sure everyone gets the correct information. I'm going to promise to be as transparent as possible with you guys and asking him questions. So whenever you guys have a question, make sure that you're dropping your questions below. We have a lot of people in the real estate industry right now that are tuned in. A lot of them are going to stay silent to hear what Bert has to say, and that's okay. But we want to be vocal on this podcast. We want to tell people the right information, right? So let's get right to it. What happened, Propstream?
Well, let's get right to it. So what happened earlier this week is that Propstream got notice that we were starting to get interruptions on a certain data set. Now, we collect data from tons of different providers. We're the leading provider in multi-source data for the real estate industry, first and foremost. We've been doing this since 2006. So we have a lot of experience in that field, and that's all we do. But what we discovered is that we're starting to become some interruptions, specifically in the field of MLS failed listings and MLS sold prices. So, because of the interruption, we decided as a company to take that out of our platform. Now, before we go any further in that, I do want to emphasize, because I think there's some confusion onto like what is MLS, right? We got customers who are like, why can't you just go get it and put it back in there? The reality is MLS is not public data, and it's actually not free data either. There's a 800 MLS boards nationwide. They each operate under their own rules and regulation. But one very common regulation that we see across the board is that you're not allowed to redistribute MLS list information, right? So Propstream, being in the industry of collecting data and providing it to real estate investors or anybody in the field to create leads, to find their motivated sellers or whatever their service that they're going to offer, we about 6 years ago found a method in which we could provide that information to the public, right? And again, think about the benefit there. No one needed to have a real estate license. You can get it through Propstream. It wasn't live data, but we were getting that turnaround within 24 to 72 hours. So how did that impact the industry at that time? Well, at that time, if you were in a non-disclosure state, this is another thing I want to specify. Disclosure states, there's about 12 of them, are states where they're not allowed to publish price of a property. It's actually by law, right? It's one of their state laws, right? So if you go to one of these 12 states and you grab a sale deed, they'll probably say $10 or $11 or $100, just some random filled number, right? What we were able to do is acquire the agent sell price a few years back, about 6 years back, and provide that to our users at a nationwide level. So now users in a non-disclosure state had a much stronger means of getting a comp, getting an after repair value, I guess is the term, right? Or a market value. Now, those are gone, right? There's no single culprit as to why it was restricted. I know there's been speculations out there. I just want to let you guys know there is no single reason as to why it was restricted, right? Failed listings and sold prices have now been taken away from Propstream. And so we wanted to let everybody know that. And unfortunately, I think it kind of got carried away. I think people ran with that and assumed that you can no longer run comps everywhere, like anywhere in the nation. And that is absolutely not true. Propstream has 100% nationwide coverage on public record sale data. So we even have the sale information of a property in a non-disclosure state. We just can't show you the sale prices because it's a law. What we were able to do previously was unique. And again, there's no reason as to why it was revoked. It was revoked. We're not brokers, right? We don't have the actual access to it. So I just want to make sure people understand, what is MLS data and, where it comes from, how one can access it, and how we were able to obtain it. We found unique ways to acquire it. Obviously, that's our secret recipe, but unfortunately, that's not the case this year. Now, again, we're working diligently to find avenues to hopefully get that information back to you in a timely manner. But that's the situation right now.
And I appreciate you addressing that, Burton, especially just earlier on this podcast, to let people know we can still run comps. That is not true where Propstream is not going to let you to run comps. As you addressed, right, there are 12 states that are considered non-disclosure. Write this down, guys. The first state is going to be Alaska, okay? The second state is going to be Idaho, all right? The third state is going to be Kansas. We're throwing a little knowledge in there, Bert, and we're going to tell them what's going right.
No, I'm happy that we're doing that.
They can't get this on any other podcast because guess what, guys? We have the exclusive one-on-one with Burton. He hasn't come on any other podcast since Propstream has announced it. So I'm going to give you guys all the tips, the tricks, the nuggets. We're going to give you the insights. I've already touched on Alaska, Idaho, Kansas, Louisiana, all right? Mississippi. I was about to get tongue-tied there. Mississippi, right? Mississippi. We used to do it in school all the time. Missouri. Now, keep in mind, in Missouri, some counties only, okay? The next one is going to be Montana, all right? After Montana is going to be New Mexico, okay? North Dakota, all right? My favorite, everything's bigger in Texas, all right? Texas is a non-disclosure state. Utah and Wyoming. I hope you guys wrote all that down. If you haven't written it down, make sure when you're replaying this podcast, okay, make sure you click replay, go back and watch that. So Bert, let me ask you this. How will this affect the industry as a whole? Because you guys are the king of data. You guys are the data providers. I mean, every time I needed help, I would call Big Brother, Propstream, right? So how is this going to change the industry? And as a wholesaler or as an investor, how is it going to affect my business?
That's a really good question that we've been seeing quite often. And the honest truth is, if you're in a disclosure state, and none of the 12 states that Ron just listed, it should be another day, right? However, I will be transparent. We no longer have failed listings. So if you're one who was aiming for failed listings, expired listings is another term that people will use, or a withdrawn listing. But if that was what you were aiming for, and again, we don't have that anymore. Now, there are other methods in which we can potentially find a property that could go into a failed listing. For example, one thing I would recommend is maybe using our on-market data. We still have active listings. We still have pending listings and contingent listings nationwide. But maybe consider using like an active listing and our days on market filter. For example, maybe an active listing that's been on market for maybe 200 days or more. Now, please, I want to throw this disclaimer out there. These are still listed properties. They're still listed with an agent. So again, if you're an agent, I probably would not recommend reaching out to other agent-listed properties. But for those investors that are watching, this would be a great opportunity to maybe reach out to the homeowner, right? Introduce yourself. Because in the event, maybe in the next 30 days, 40 days, 60 days, that active listing does perhaps fail, you've already planted that seed, right? So that's potentially one hindrance I could see affecting everybody across the board, are those that are aiming for failed listings as one of their main listing lead types. But remember, guys, we have over 120 plus filters. There are a lot of great other data sets that you can go into to find other leads. One, again, I can't stress that it may just add a speed bump to is the non-disclosure states. For those that are in non-disclosure states, again, the impact there is by us removing the MLS sold prices. It may just make comping just a little bit longer. But here's the cool thing about Propstream. Again, we've been in the space for nearly 15 years now, 15 plus years now. And we collect a lot of data. We derive data from multiple sources. And with that, we can add logic on top of that. So again, in non-disclosure states, we may not have the MLS sell prices anymore, but we still have the public record data, mortgage information that can be extracted in these states. And that will allow us to provide logic to potentially derive a close estimated value. And this is why if you're in any of these non-disclosure states and using Propstream, you'll see an estimated value. And for those that want to know, how do you get that estimated value? It's because, again, we tap into the mortgage records that are available, the loan records that are available, the sell transactions that are available, but the MLS sold prices are no longer going to be available. So this could possibly be a scenario for you, right? I'm using Propstream in a non-disclosure state. I need a comp property. Hey, we don't have the MLS sell prices, but you can still look for 3 bedrooms, 2 bathroom properties that sold around your subject property. Once you have those filtered and narrowed down, you might need to just make one extra phone call to the realtor and just ask, what was the sell price, right? Simple as that. I know, again, it's not ideal, but this is the reality because that information was revoked from us displaying it going forward.
Awesome. And thank you for addressing that. So we have a question from Facebook. It says, I know Burton may not be able to speculate, and that's okay, but do you think the access to that particular data set that Propstream was shut off from will eventually affect other data providers? That is a great question.
That is a really good question, and we've been seeing that quite a bit. So let me just explain again what has happened. The MLS boards as a collective have restricted that information from third-party providers such as ourselves, right? We're one of the largest providers out there, so maybe that could have been an outlier that we stand out quite a bit. However, we're a very transparent company. We don't want to get anybody in trouble when they say, hey, don't do it. We're not going to do it. Okay. So we did benefit from it for a while until the stop was made this year. So now that's been revoked. Now I can't, again, speculation. I can't tell you what's under the hood of other companies. I really can't, right? My open and honest advice is try them out. And you know what? Maybe compare it to an actual MLS data board. So if you're in a non-disclosure state and someone's claiming they have it, which I highly doubt, just do a quick comparison, right? Grab a comp or a property that's sold, see what their price is, call a realtor in that neighborhood, and just see if it matches up, and you'll know whether they're being openly honest or not. Now, here's another thing. I've also heard this. Someone has said, well, I know of so-and-so that does have it for a fact. Again, guys, we're the largest provider of real estate data nationwide. Could there be a provider out there that might have local access to an area or their state? Could they know someone that's on the board feeding them that information? Absolutely. It happens every day. But could they do it at a scale that we were doing at a nationwide level and get away with it? I highly doubt it. And again, in my personal opinion, for those that are operating in that, it's, in my opinion, only a matter of time. You know, once the MLS gets wind of what they're doing with that data, um, same position, right? So we're in some changing times right now, right? Could this conversation we're having or this interview we're having completely be different 6 months from now? Could we end up getting that data back? Absolutely, right? But we may not as well. And so we wanted to just make sure everybody knew what was happening, some alternatives that you have. And in regards to who has what, and again, please try it out for yourself. I don't want to make any speculations on what other products have. If you have any questions about your particular area or our product, please call me or our customer support so that we can tell you how we operate with our data and what we're aware of about that data industry, and we'll take it from there. Oh, Ron, I think you're muted, brother.
There we go. Thank you for addressing that, brother. Absolutely. And I think a lot of people will appreciate that. Now, moving forward, you did mention something about, hey, if you got a buddy somewhere that might get you some piece of information or anything like that. I do want to move on to the NAR Monopoly, right? What can you tell us about the NAR Monopoly that's going on right now with the data providers?
Yeah, honestly, I don't think there is one. That's my honest opinion. I don't think there is a monopoly. And I say that openly and honest because if there was, there would only be one MLS board. There would only be one brokerage, right? I don't think there is a monopoly. Now, are they more organized? Maybe that's the question we should ask ourselves. Are they more organized? Are agents more organized than wholesalers? Right? I mean, when's the last time you've heard of a wholesaler association? I haven't heard one. If there is one, please expose me to one. I would like to learn more. But I think that's
I like that idea.
I think that's where we're at. Again, I don't think there's a monopoly. I just think they just might understand how the system works when it comes to laws and regulations. And I think they're just a little bit more representative than our community, right? And so I don't want to point fingers. I think both communities are awesome, but again, I don't know. There's no monopoly, without a doubt. I don't think there is. Again, do they have maybe more lawyers on their side? That's a reality. Again, I think that's really the question we should be asking ourselves, right? I think it's maybe who's more organized, and I think they as a unit are more organized. They've been around for a long time. Maybe that's something that maybe we should consider or look into to potentially even the playing field, if that's what you want to call it. So
100%. So let me ask you this. What are your thoughts on wholesaling getting regulated even more in 2022? I know there have been 2 additional states now that have called upon, finalizing regulations. But what do you think about, more states regulating wholesaling even more in this year?
I think there's both sides to the story, and I could see the downfall for those that are wholesalers, and I can see the positive for those that, want a little bit more organized of a structure when it comes to real estate. Um, in terms of the future, I will say everybody should just be willing to adapt. All the successful investors that I've met, there's one common trait about them is that they always fall forward, right? They never fall back and speculate. They always fall forward and pick themselves up. So, hey, could it be a reality that you probably need a license to perform any real estate in the nation? Yeah, that could be a reality. Are you going to stop doing real estate? That's the next question, right? What are you going to do about that? And so I guess we could speculate, and I guess we can say why and who and point fingers. I just think at the end of the day, there are things that are out of our hands, and the best that we can do is just adapt to that. Same with us, right? We're always adapting. There are things that are constantly going to change. Perfect example this week, and we just have to adapt, right? So for again, those in non-disclosure state, you might need to partner up with a realtor. Just call a few extra realtors to get that sell price, right? There's nothing wrong with that because that might benefit you in the long run. So I always look at it in a positive thing that, yeah, sometimes changes could be looked at negatively, but it really tears apart who we really are as a person. Are we willing to adapt, or are we going to let this literally take over like a toxic, right? Or like a cancer and go from there?
Awesome. So we got Facebook is hot today, man, with their comments. So somebody says, I agree with Burton. The NAR isn't a monopoly. It's a cartel like OPEC. Slightly different.
Okay. I did not say that. Again, I just think we really need to just look at just the structure. And again, there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. I love what they're doing. They're organized. They help the communities, right? They help one another. Maybe something to consider for anybody that is a wholesaler or anybody that's in the real estate. I mean, hey, getting together and helping one another to help those that need help in the real estate field, that's a win-win-win, right? And so, hey, I'm sorry if there's a back and forth with the two different fields or all the different fields, but at the end of the day, I'm a believer that we can all work together, and when that happens, more people benefit from it. So.
No, 100%, brother. It's just like they say, right? Collaboration over competition, and that's exactly what we have to do in our industry. Unfortunately, there are some bad apples out there who think that that's not true, right? But again, the truth always comes out at the end of the day, right? So let's talk about moving forward for 2022. What is Propstream offering, right now? Any new features that Propstream will be offering for 2022?
Oh, yes. We have lots. We have lots of things conjuring.
If you guys want to know, Burton, drop the gems. Make sure you guys are dropping a gem emoji right now. We want Burton to spill the beans. All right. So make sure you guys are saying.
I'm going to break some bad news. I'm not going to be able to give you guys details, but I will be open, honest. I mean, you guys saw the recent news in the last quarter of last year. We got acquired by Stewart Title. Awesome. So obviously we're we're acquired with Stewart Title. We're still operating independently. But that's a great sign. For those that don't know Stewart Title, they're one of the leading title companies nationwide. They've been operating for over 100 years. They have a lot of data, right? Think about that. A lot of data. They've been doing this for longer than we've been doing this. And so the acquisition this previous year, oh my goodness, guys, I've been in this data world for a long time, and what happened this last quarter, when it comes to being a data geek, I'm a kid in a candy store with mom and dad's credit card, and it's unlimited, right? That's what's happening. So I can't get into detail, but yeah, there are going to be some major announcements coming out, big stuff, new data sets. But we'll leave it at that. But again, the big news here is that the acquisition of Stewart Title has really given us a lot more resources, and I can't wait to show you guys what we're conjuring behind closed doors. But tune in and make sure you guys join our community, join our live webinars, follow me, follow our company page. But yeah, look out for that. But that's the most I can give you guys right now.
Awesome. No, we appreciate anything you can. Just throw us a bone, bro. Tell us something that Propstream is gonna.
I just can't. Yeah, I love to, and you're my
Like
good
they
guy.
say,
You're my man, but
you know, like they say, don't poke a sleeping lion. That's what's happening right now. Propstream's a little right. People are poking it. Once that lion wakes up, it's game over at the end of the day, right? So, but that's awesome, though. I'm glad Propstream is moving forward. The acquisition with Stewart Title, I think that's huge news. It was a $200 million acquisition. How much was the acquisition?
I believe it was in the range of that, about 170, somewhere around there. It was a pretty large
We'll
sum.
round it up a couple figures. What's
But
a
you know,
dollars?
I will say this. You know, every day I look at where we started and where we are today, and we did it because of
Wow.
everybody that's watching. Our goal was to just help you help homeowners out there, right? And this is why I love our industry, is because it's like especially what I do, it's a win-win-win situation. We provide data to help you to help someone else, and I love it. And that's why we want to make sure we're transparent. We educate you guys on how this data stuff works. If you have any concerns, any questions, please reach out. But again, that's your title acquisition. I mean, that's testament right there, if anything, right?
That's massive. That is absolutely massive. And it turned on a lot of haters. They got big mad. That's all it is. So it's all good. The Kings are going to do what Kings do at the end of the day. They're going to keep going forward, right? And we love Propstream. So I'll give you guys, you know, a little bit of our testimonial and kind of what we've been able to do for, you know, with Propstream. Of course, you know, I run a very successful wholesaling outfit out here in Houston, Texas. We coach and mentor many students. Also, we have an education branch. Our students use Propstream. Okay, cumulatively in 2021, our students altogether closed over $3.1 million using data from Propstream. Okay, guys, that is massive. Okay, because of the fact, just the amount of deals that are flowing through by having the right data, right? They say data is king, and the ones who have the right data is Propstream, guys, for sure. So I'm very proud of my students, of my staff, all of us. We worked very, very hard, and they just absolutely wrecked it, right? Especially during the pandemic. I mean, go figure, right? But we wouldn't have been able to do this without the help of Propstream. Okay, guys. So listen, if any of you guys are trying to run the other way, if you're trying to get with other companies, all right, now listen, it's like the girl at the bar. If she says no first time, you don't stop chasing her, right? At the end of the day, you keep trying. Burton likes that analogy. You keep trying and trying and trying. Listen, guys, we're sticking with Propstream. We're not going to any other service provider. I don't have the intention of jumping on board with any other data company. All right. We can still run comps with Propstream. The data is still fire. Many of my clients with callvirtuals.com are using Propstream's data, and they're closing deals. At the end of the day, you want a company that has your back. And Bert, I salute your team, man. Your customer service is phenomenal, right? We tested this out with other guys. Those guys are hanging up the phone. They don't know the answer. They got to talk to the owner of the company. Like, come on, man. I want my answer now, right? And we've definitely tried it out, and we're very, very happy, right, with Propstream. So I appreciate you guys definitely. And if Bert, right, again, we appreciate you. So if anyone wants to get on board with Propstream, they are so generous, guys. They're willing to give us a 7-day free trial. Okay, make sure you go to runmycomps.com and try them out. Again, don't listen to the hoo-ha and the foo-fa. We say that in Texas, right? Don't listen to the hoo-ha, right? At the end of the day, at the end of the day, you're gonna know who's real and who's not real. And my brother Propstream has been as real as it gets, right? I don't want to flex the HUD. We got the HUDs right here that we use from, right? We got an entire folder that says HUDs. All these are closed with Propstream's data, guys. I don't pull anybody else's data because I don't need to pull them. Propstream data is real, it's raw, and we close deals, right? So, Bert, we have another Facebook viewer here say they just got here. They're asking, are comps coming back? I don't know if comps ever left. You can answer that.
Yeah, they never left. Again, comps are still there. We still have nationwide sold data, public record sold data, 100% coverage there. The only thing that, again, is no longer with us are the MLS failed listings and the MLS sold prices. So unless you're in a non-disclosure state, again, those sold prices were never legal or were never supposed to be presented. We fortunately were presenting it for you, but again, those states, those 12 states that Ron listed earlier, you might need to either use our estimated values, which are really good. Again, we know the mortgage information. We can derive logic from other data sets, which we've been doing for many, many, many years to get you a very close value. We also have active listings. We have pending listings. So you can potentially utilize that to get an idea, right, of what the market value range could be. Again, these are not comps, but this will allow you to gauge where the market is with listed properties or pending properties. So yeah, comps never left. They're still there. That's a great question. Thank you for asking it.
Absolutely. So moving on, Bert, right? I do want to ask you, you mentioned some of the things that are not there. What is there? Are the active listings still there? Are the pending data still there? What's there right now?
Yeah, so the active listings, the pending data is still, the contingent data is still there on a nationwide level. Again, what was removed is the failed listing and the MLS sold data, and that was out of our control. The MLS boards as a whole restricted it. We're following their policies. We're not trying to step on toes. We're not trying to get you guys in trouble, right? That's the last thing we want to do. And so they took that away. So again, if you are in a non-disclosure state, it was like before we got it, right? Before 2016, when we got the MLS data, what were investors doing? They were either calculating this data through mortgage information, like what we currently do with our estimated values. They would be the realtor themselves. That's how you normally get MLS data. You got to pay those fees, right? Again, we had the ability to kind of circumvent that, right? That's no longer the case. So again, you can do it through means of getting other records and adding logic and kind of get an idea. You can be the agent yourself. You got to pay your dues. You can network with agents, or again, using active listings, sold data in our system, the estimated value, reaching out. It might be a collection of all of that now, right? Now, if you're in a disclosure state, if a homeowner says, no, my house is in California, you still have public records, you still have the sell prices. Nothing is going to change in those disclosure states. So that's a very, very good question.
So looks like we've got another viewer on Facebook, Bill. He's asking what's the best way to filter late leads, substitute trustee leads before it becomes pre-foreclosure. Thanks, Burton. So that's what he's asking.
So he's trying to get a lead before it goes into pre-foreclosure. Is that correct? If I'm reading that question correctly?
I think so. He's saying, what's the best way to filter late leads? Again, substitute trustee list before it becomes pre-foreclosure.
Well, so I'm reading that as I'm trying to get a lead before it goes into pre-foreclosure.
Yeah.
And one thing I would do right off the bat is go into our filters, our pre-foreclosure and foreclosure filters. And there's a status drop-down menu. The first thing I would recommend is exclude pre-foreclosure and foreclosure data. Make sure that does not show up in your records. Now, this is a loaded question because yes, a property is not in pre-foreclosure, but now we have to ask ourselves, what could cause it to go into pre-foreclosure, right? So liens can cause something to go into pre-foreclosure. Bankruptcy, if you filed for bankruptcy, you probably have no income. That missed payment or two or three can cause that. I've seen divorces, if they don't, get along and they're not making payments, that can cause it. So I would say first step is to exclude those records, right? Exclude pre-foreclosure and foreclosures. The next step is you got to kind of conjure up a situation. You're going to have to, manipulate our data a little bit or choose a vacant list with this or with that to create a situation that has a high propensity of potentially going into pre-foreclosure, right? Now, and there's no guarantees that it is, but the idea is that it's a term called list stacking, right? Stack maybe two lists, but just make sure no pre-foreclosures are in there. And that might lead into a property that might be heading there. That's the best response I can give you. Again, just start with making sure those records are not in your results and then just start thinking of ideas out there.
Yeah, I think you answered his question. He said yes, sir. So perfect.
Oh, okay, good. Because I was kind of lost.
Awesome. We've got another viewer that says in Texas. So yes, non-disclosure state. Sounds like the answer is no.
Again, if you're trying to get like the exact sell price through Propstream, then the answer is no, right? But remember, I emphasize that we still have 100% nationwide sell data. That includes non-disclosure state. And look, hey, take my word on it. Go into your counties. If you're in Texas, right? Go into your county right now and say, hey, I'd like to see a sell deed, and take a look at that sell price. It's going to say $1, $10, or $100, or $1,000. It's going to be just some placement value. That's a law. They're not supposed to publish that information, right? Now, in that state, how can one get a sell price? Well, if it's sold through an agent, that agent would know, right? And that's what we tapped into. That's been restricted from us, right? So if I was in Texas and I needed to run comp knowing that MLS data is now gone, it is going to be a little bit longer. There might be an extra step. And we gave an example earlier where we still have the sold data, right? So you're going to use Propstream's public records, right? Let's say we're looking at a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom property. Look at our public records for all the 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom properties that's sold. Again, you're not going to see the sell prices. That's fine. Make sure the characteristics are similar, right? That narrows it to 5, maybe you got 6, maybe you got 7 results left. Once you've narrowed down properties based on their characteristics, right? Because I don't want you to call 100 properties that sold. I want you to call the ones that are very similar, right? Once you have those 5, 6, 7, however many of very similar characteristics, call the realtor, right? Maybe go to the local websites the realtors have. You might see that, or just again, call an agent. That information may be available. Get that sell price from them. Put those pieces of data together. That's how it's going to approach. Again, we didn't want it to be that way, right? Having that MLS data circumvented that, right? But this is something that's out of our hands. And so the best that we can do is provide alternative solutions. And that's the best that I can think of. But again, our estimated values are really great. So don't dismiss that. Again, we collect mortgage data. We know interest rates. We know when the mortgage was recorded. And with all that information, we can derive a very close value of what that purchase price is. But if you're looking for the actual sell price, the answer is no. But that doesn't mean you can't derive a value without it. That's my answer there. It's a great question.
No, that's a great answer to definitely to that question. So let me ask you this, Bert. Moving forward, right? As a wholesaler and as an investor, right? We always say pivot and adapt. The ones who pivot and adapt are the ones that are going to be able to survive anything, right? When the pandemic hit, most of the major guys died in the industry, right? They were talking a big game. All of a sudden, COVID hit and they're gone, right? They're no longer, apparently wholesaling doesn't work anymore. Yeah, bullshit. Okay. So, and then we've got guys, who made it through the pandemic and they've pivoted and adapted. So is this one of those moments where people will need to pivot and adapt with Propstream?
I think regardless of this situation or not, you should always have that type of characteristic to pivot and adapt. Pivot and adapt. You know what I mean? Yeah, it happened to be the MLS failed listings. It happened to be the MLS sell price. It could have been liens. It could have been high equity. It could have been anything, right? This industry is ever evolving. What it was when I first started with Propstream nearly 10 years ago, we didn't not have access today, not have a web-based product that we have today. You need to adapt. And yeah, there's gonna be times where something happens and it's not what we want, right? But what are you gonna do about it, right? Like I hate to say it like that, but we have to continue to keep putting our best foot forward. And with Propstream, again, we did our best to give you what we had, right? There's no system prior to Propstream that allow you to say, I want to separate public and MLS data, right? Which we had prior, right? And then to say, you know what, I just want to see cash transactions, or you know what, I want to see failed listings around my house, this subject property, or sold properties around that subject property. We bring something on a nationwide level no one ever created, and unfortunately, things have changed. And so I don't want people to think, oh, this is it. No, it's not. It's just you have to be willing to adapt, and there's enough data in our system still, right? County records, loan records, active, pending listings, contingent listing, for one to get an idea of what market value is. Again, Sorry, it's not the derived sell price. That's something that we can't provide, knock on wood, at the current moment. So hopefully that comes back around. But if it doesn't, yes, Ron, you're absolutely right. This is an industry where we need to adapt constantly. And those that do or those that don't, I mean, you're going to know at the end of the day. So I wish everybody well. And again, we're adapting just like you guys are. If you guys have any questions with our product or with your specific area or situation, please reach out. We'd love to inform you guys about what we do.
100%. Somebody left a great comment. They said, entrepreneurs don't whine and complain. They adapt and overcome. Ain't nothing changed. There we go, baby.
I love that attitude.
That's the best. That's the best comment right here.
Yeah.
Whoever dropped this comment, all right, that was literally the best one. So we're gonna move towards. We're now hitting the 45-minute mark. And we've had a phenomenal turnout with a lot of people that tuned in. All right, and so any final remarks, Bert, before we go, before people say, hey, I heard your podcast with Rana, you said this, right? So what do you want to leave people with?
Yeah, everybody should just ask questions at the end of the day, right? When you hear something, ask questions. I don't want anybody, I mean, personally, in anything, don't just jump into something without asking the questions. I saw a lot of that, and shout outs to my customer support team. They went through quite a bit this week. I mean, they were getting people yelling at them, people were using profanities. And, again, we started educating. We started letting know people what the situation really was, how to work around that, some alternatives. So personally, I'm just going to say I am a little disappointed in some of the bad actors that were out there that ran with the misinformation rather than reaching out and asking. I mean, we've always had an open door here at Propstream. And so if you do have a question about our data or what has happened, please ask. We have nothing to hide. Again, acquired by Stewart Title, we're doing things the right way because we have to do things the right way. And ultimately, that's going to benefit both parties, you guys and us. So that's really it. I mean, thank you guys so much for giving me your time. If you have any questions about our product, about data in general, please reach out. Again, shout outs to our customer support team. Love you guys. And Ron, thank you for giving me the time, man.
Yeah, absolutely, Bert. Thank you so much, man. Your time is extremely valuable, and we certainly appreciate it. Guys, before we go, I do want to give a massive thank you to the REI community, the real estate investment community, for making my book, The Real Estate Investors Dictionary, the number one new release on Amazon. If you haven't gotten it yet, guys, this is an entire 10-chapter, 140-page book, all right? It's an amazing book. Make sure you guys grab it. It's got every single word. Matter of fact, whatever you need to know, it's an entire dictionary. Make sure you guys go through it. It is available currently on Amazon, and it will be available in Barnes & Nobles across the country mid-2022. I see something in the background, Bert, and I like that. That's pretty cool, man. So there we go.
You know how to represent. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Again, thank you
guys,
for the love.
Thank you so much for the love, for the support. Listen, you got to get the right education from the right people at the end of the day, right, guys? So a lot of people are saying, thank you, Burton. Thank you so much. It says, thank you for the info, guys. Perfect. Phenomenal.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you so much, Bert. We certainly appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, reach out to the team over at Propstream. All right, perfect. Someone says, getting my copy. There we go. Go to the Real Estate Investment Dictionary. Real Estate Investors Dictionary. We got it all wrong, man. Real Estate Investors. I'm going to fire somebody on my team. the Real Estate Investors Dictionary.com investment. I'm like, what? That's not it. That's not my book name. My name's Rana, not Ron Rona. Come on, guys. Y'all don't know? There we go, guys. There we go. The Real Estate Investors Dictionary. Once again, we're getting a lot of great comments. Thank you, Burton. Thank you. People are saying they appreciate you. One guy is saying thank you. He's been following you since day one. He's seeing your come up. So phenomenal, guys. Burton has been with the group for a very, very long time. All right. This is why I call him Mr. Propstream. He knows it like the back of his hand, guys. All right. No matter how many buyouts they get, no matter what it is, Burton in my heart will always be Mr. Propstream. Thank you so much for your time, brother. I certainly appreciate it. And I know all the viewers today have appreciated, guys. So did you have any other last remarks, Bert?
No, just thank you guys so much for your time. Look out for some crazy stuff happening with Propstream this year in a positive way. Again, that's through a title. My goodness. You guys just have no idea. But look out. Make sure you guys follow us. Tune into our social media for all the news and latest releases that are going to be coming out this year. Okay, guys? But thank you so very much for your time today.
Awesome, guys. Rana signing out with Burton Alacondo of Propstream. We wish you guys a very happy new year. Enjoy the rest of your 2022. Signing out.